is my review of the Ochs album Tape from California. It was released in 1968 and produced by Larry Marks. So this was like the second to last Phil album that I got. I didn't listen to this one online any before I got it, so really I didn't get into this album until like 3 or 4 years ago when I bought it on eBay. And it kind of, I don't know, when I first got it, I listened to it a couple times, and then I kind of went back to his other A&M records. So for a while, this was kind of my least favorite of like the A&M years, and I'm not sure now really where I'd put it. I got to put a lot more thought into that before I do the ranking. But I do think that I underrated this album for a long time. It's kind of a different album. I don't really know a lot about the background of it. I have read a biography on him before, but it didn't really spend a whole lot of time on this album, from what I remember. So this has kind of a mix of styles on it. He doesn't. He does a little bit of the stuff like he did on Pleasures of the Harbor. He actually kind of combines styles a little bit, where he has some of the like lyricism that he went for on Pleasures of the Harbor combined with just like him and an acoustic guitar on one of the songs. But he also has songs like on Pleasure where there's more instrumentation and stuff. But it's also kind of a more like, I don't know, it's a, when they do that more instrumentation and stuff, it's not as elaborate as Pleasures of the Harbor. This is just kind of like more of a, I don't know, more of a humble album, I guess I would say, where like Pleasures of the Harbor seems like it wanted to be this big, you know, kind of statement and successful album. This is just kind of a more down-to-earth album. But, I mean, I'm not saying that to like insult Pleasures of the Harbor or anything. I love that album, but this, I don't know, this one's just got a really different feel to it, but it does kind of continue on in some of the stuff that album did. At the same time, he does kind of go back to his protest songs on a few songs here, and he kind of does combine that style with some of the more instruments and things like that, but then he also kind of goes back to just it being him singing and guitar. So he just kind of does like everything that he's done before on this album, just kind of combined, which is cool, but it does give it a little bit, I don't know, just like a variety of different styles on it, which kind of might make it seem uncohesive to some people. I think that it all kind of sounds good together and works well together. So I find it a pretty cohesive record, even with the blend of styles. And I tend to like albums, though, that blend a lot of different styles. I just kind of enjoy that sort of thing and find it entertaining. The album opens with the title track, Tape from California. This is one of those songs where like I kind of listen to the live version of it more often than the studio version, but I do like the studio version. It's got some cool keyboards in it. I believe it's Lincoln Mayorga. I'm probably butchering that last name, but the guy that played the keyboards on Pleasures of the Harbor, I think he's back for this album, and I enjoyed his playing on that album. I enjoyed it on this album. I could see the production kind of annoying some people in some of these songs because it is that kind of like 60s style, but I like it. The drums on this song kind of just like go nuts in the background, and I enjoy that. It's I think lyrically a pretty interesting song. I'm not sure exactly what all of it's about, but it sounds like he's kind of just talking about like the way things were. Then he's like mentions some things about himself in it. He has a line about how his rhymes are all repeating, which if you know like kind of what ended up happening to him later with like the writer's block and stuff, it's kind of a sad line. And he does that a lot in these last couple albums, where he just has these songs, I think, that where he's talking about himself and the things that go on. So it kind of does make these last few albums pretty sad, but the songs are just so great. So yeah, Tape from California, I love the song. Catchy song. I think Phil performs really great on it, and I really like the production, but I could see some people kind of being annoyed by the production. The second track, White Boots Marching in a Yellow Land, is kind of a Vietnam protest song. This one, it's not exactly like his older protest songs because he has, you know, kind of some extra instruments on here. There's some drums, I think some like bugles and stuff. I think that all kind of works and helps add some atmosphere to the song. I like the song. It's really catchy. I think it has some really powerful lines in it. it's one of my favorite tracks on here. Not sure if it's my favorite because there's a few that kind of could be, but this one to me is a highlight. And I believe this was kind of an older song of his that he brought back for this, but I could be wrong about that. The third track, Half a Century High. This is another highlight for me. It's got kind of a weird effect on it that kind of makes it sound like staticky throughout, but I enjoy that quite a bit. I don't know, it just adds something weird to the song. Yeah, I think the lyrics are good. I'm not really sure completely what it's about, but I enjoy the lyrics a lot. I enjoy his performance a lot, the production. Just a really catchy track, so that one is another highlight. Fourth track, Joe Hill, probably my least favorite on the album. I mean, I like it, but it's just not one that, you know, it's one that if I was listening to like a CD in the car, I'd probably skip. It's kind of a longer song. I think he used the melody from like an older protest song for it. It's got some cool guitar in it from, I think, Ramblin' Jack Elliott was the guy's name. And so yeah, it's some cool guitar. There's some good lines to it, but just overall it's not the most like interesting song for me, not the most exciting. It's mainly for its lyrics that I like it. The fifth track, The War Is Over. This one, this is like the one track off here that I knew before I got this album. I've been listening to this song for years before I got this album, just like on YouTube and stuff, but mainly like a live version that he did. So I like this song a lot. It's a major highlight for me. I think the lyrics are great. I like his vocal a lot. And it's another one of those tracks where some people might kind of have a problem with the kind of like overblown late 60s production, but I really love it. I just, you know, love the style of this time when they were doing that kind of stuff. The sixth track, The Harder They Fall, this is a strange song. Another one where I'm not sure exactly what he's talking about. There's like one line in here in the song that like I don't think he's like trying to. Well, I'm sure he's not trying to say anything bad because Phil, you know, wasn't like that. But there's one line in here where people might have kind of issues with today in this song, but. Yeah, I don't know. As a whole, I think it's a good song. I like the production on it. Just kind of different. Not really sure what all he's talking about in it. The seventh track, When in Rome. This one, it's 13 minutes, so longest song on here by far. And it's a really cool track. It's probably the other one that's the closest to being my favorite on here. It's just Phil and his guitar, and I'm not sure if he did it like all in one take. I think he did. But yeah, it's just a really great performance. I really like the song. The lyrics are great. And even though it's just kind of, you know, him and his guitar and it goes on for 13 minutes, like I don't get tired of it. Like I just get really like drawn into the lyrics of it and his performance and everything. So yeah, When in Rome. Great track, major highlight of the album for me. And then the eighth and final track, Floods of Florence, is kind of a weird song, I guess. I keep saying that, but it's just another one where I'm not really sure what it's about. But he kind of just he's got a lot of tracks on here where he really kind of like almost paints images with his lyrics and stuff. And I think this is one of them. I like the production on it a lot. I think his vocal's really good, and I think that it's a pretty catchy song, so I think it's a very strong album closer. Phil Ochs Tape from California for me is a pretty great album. There's only really one song that I'm kind of meh on. I've been having a hard time like thinking of a Phil album that I would recommend to like first-time listeners as a good one of his studio albums to, you know, just go into him and get a good introduction to him. This one like almost fits that for me because it's just got, I mean, he kind of does most of the stuff that he's done before this, so it's just kind of a good overview of his like style. That said, I'm not sure if it would really be the right album to get somebody into him or not, but it does offer like a good overview of most of the stuff he's done up to this point, even though the song, even the songs with instruments on this album are like they're pretty different than the stuff on Pleasures. I think Pleasures of the Harbor is just this thing that kind of stands out in his catalog. Is like he never really did anything like it before or after. But that said, I do like that he keeps going in that direction, keeps adding the instruments and stuff, because I think that just brings a lot of new stuff to his music. So yeah, Phil Ochs Tapes from California, really great, really underrated record, and I think more people should check it out.